What's your experience with, do you think the equipment you buy is worthy of the price that they're charging for? Or do you think that they're using the same materials as somebody else and you could get it cheaper somewhere else? All right, good evening, YouTube. Welcome to the ProfitDig Construction Show. I'm here with Chris Work.
Howdy.
Jeff Spencer.
Hey, you guys.
I'm Jeff Givens, and we've got Jerry Work behind the camera over here. I was thinking, guys, about...
Serious?
Yeah, I know. It's dangerous.
Okay. All right. Well, no, the tone was very serious.
Yeah, I was thinking about how when I was in college one summer, I was working at like a bread packaging factory, and it was all coming from the same batch of materials. Every time they made a new batch of bread, and at the end of the line, what we would do, we would change these bags out, you know, and the difference in cost between one bag to the next, I mean, it could be twice as expensive. And it's the same product at the end of the day. Jeff Spencer, Chris, I don't know. What's your experience with, do you think the equipment you buy is worthy of the price that they're charging for? Or do you think that they're using the same materials as somebody else and you could get it cheaper somewhere else?
Now, when you talk about equipment, I guess you're talking about heavy equipment, you know, as far as that goes, yeah?
Could be materials, could be heavy equipment.
Well, you know, like materials, it's kind of, you know, you got specs, you know, put in place, you know, by the architect or engineer. You got specs put in place by local municipalities. And a lot of times they prefer, you know, a certain brand of pipe or a certain brand of fittings or valves or hydrants, you know, whatever it may be. But there's usually like in the specs it says, you know, this brand or equal to. It's not always like that, but sometimes, you know, they give you the option, you know, as an equal to.
Well, can I interrupt real quick? Or equal to... I mean, would you already know as a contractor, or an estimator that, well, I'm gonna suggest this brand, same product, you know, it's equal to, but does that mean you're gonna agree on that? Could that?
Well, I mean, it's. Is
it a trap?
No, it's not. No, it's not a trap. It's not a trap. You know, some municipalities, you know, may say, you know, that this is all that's allowed in their district. But if they prefer this, but it's equal to, then all the pipe classifications, that's what the classifications are for, is they're still the same pressure rating as the brand that they're specing. They still have the same specs, they're just a different brand.
Okay. I got you.
So
a lot
it's
of
really
people
based
like
the specifications.
Right.
Yeah. And you know, you got to warranty it regardless, I guess,
exactly.
if you're installing. So.
And what it boils down to is like, you know, as far as valves, hydrants, stuff of that nature goes, you know, they like to have the same brand throughout their system because it's easier to work on. It's not, you know, so much that one may be better than the other. To some extent it is, but for the most part, it's like they can keep repair kits, you know, here and there for valves or hydrants, you know, that they can repair and work on without having to go back to their pipe supplier or their manufacturer they use, you know, to try to get the materials they need to work on the products that someone else or we have put in.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
you know what the hell you're getting into before you start digging.
Yeah, and that's a lot of times that's why they spec that stuff. You know, it's where that they can have shelf items readily available if they have an issue. You know, they've got the stuff in house to make the repairs most of the time. Because even though they're rated for the same specs, they're not going to have the same products, the same parts, you know, to make those repairs.
Yeah. Well, what about heavy equipment? I mean, like, you know, like Ford and Chevy, you know, they like worked together on like that newer, was it like a 2.7 liter turbo engine for their, you know, trucks and stuff. Is heavy equipment, is that similar, or are there so many patents in design and tech on these machines now that it's like you can't necessarily just say we're going to rip off Komatsu or Cat, you know,
It really comes down to preference, and as far as longevity, there's a few of them out there, in my opinion, that will last longer than other pieces of equipment will. There's like when it comes to track machines, undercarriages, not something that's costly to fix or repair, later on down the road, and so you want something that's going to last, but also you want operator comfort. You want to have something, especially if you're like working in a city area, like a downtown area. If you got an excavator for say, and you're doing a lot of digging around a lot of existing utilities, you want an excavator that's really smooth. Something that's really fine tuned. You don't want something that's real jerky. Take a chance on breaking a gas line or a fiber optic line or something like that could. Kill someone, or really get or really get into like a fiber optic line, depending on how big that fiber optic line is. It can be very costly.
Yeah.
Sometimes millions of dollars an hour for that line being down. So they get it repaired. So I mean, it's just what people get used to and what works the best for your company. I know the company I work for. We use. We have a few Cat pieces, but most of our equipment's John Deere. The guys really like it. They're good, smooth running machines. And that's, in Cat and John Deere both, in our opinion, and Komatsu is right there with them. Komatsu and what we've been seeing here lately, their prices have kind of got a little higher. And Cat's prices have actually come down, where they're a little more competitive. So, there's a lot of factors taking, price range, price market, what you have in your budget, as far as equipment purchases, every year. Longevity, as far as, dependability, how long is it going to be before I start seeing major breakdowns? I like to see something, go for most of our stuff, 7,000 to 8,000 hours before we have, do any major work on them. So, that's some factors you got to look into, whenever you're going to make that purchase.
Yeah. And in your experience, as far as like cost of maintenance, is there a divide between certain manufacturers, or is it about the same?
Well, we don't really run enough of the other equipment to really, as far as you got to purchase that equipment, have it for long term to really tell those things.
Yeah. I said no in your experience, because I know you've run lots of different pieces and stuff.
Now I do know there are some equipment out there. I'm not going to start naming off names, but there are some other manufacturers that we rent equipment from different people, and some of the rental equipment we get, seems like this particular brand may break down more than others. Okay. But it's also a rental equipment. Somebody else has run that equipment before you did.
That's true.
You don't really know how it's been treated or how it's been used.
Or if they knew how to use it at all.
Right, exactly.
That's interesting.
So unless you make that purchase and kind of do tests and trials, like which brand best suits you and what you're looking for. If somebody was to ask me today, what my recommendation would be, I'd go with John Deere or Cat. That'd be my two recommendations.
All right. Does that satisfy?
I think so.
Your questions are fantastic.
Very good answer.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. So visit your local Cat and John Deere today. That's right. And check us out at ProfitDig.com if you're looking for a pretty cool construction bidding and costing tool. Check us out. It's only $99 a month. We're glad you're here at the channel. Please subscribe, like the videos. Let us know what you want to talk about. Jeff,
Chris,
we'll see y'all soon.
See you guys
later.
See you.